This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Yesterday I did a video talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene's lofty goal to divorce the country from state to state, to separate blue states from red states and allow red states to do what they want to do. And then subsequently she went on Twitter and created this Twitter thread going into more detail about this stupid, unconstitutional plan. Again, this is the same group, I talk about these goofballs who wave their pocket constitutions in the air. So much so, I talk about it that I decided to go out and buy a few of these things. It's now a prop for me in this sense because it's a prop for Republicans. Marjorie Taylor Greene being one of these people, not having any idea, any conception about the contents of the very document she rose her right hand and swore an oath to support and defend. How can you swear allegiance to something, swear to protect and defend something that you have zero idea the contents of? Something that always bothered me, even when I was in the Marine Corps. Not only did she do the Twitter thread, but Sean Hannity welcomed her with open arms to promote this idea. At one point, even saying he endorses it or he gives some tacit approval of certain aspects of the plan. I got 3 clips here to play from the interview. It's like a 5-minute segment. I'm not going to play the whole 5 minutes, just a minute here, a minute there, and we're going to talk about it as we go. Here's Sean Hannity kind of summarizing while endorsing the plan.
All right, Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene made waves over the holiday weekend with this tweet calling for a national divorce. After facing backlash from Democrats and some Republicans, Greene followed up with a detailed thread explaining why she thinks this is a good idea. Greene is saying that a national divorce would empower individual states to form a smaller government, reduce the federal debt, set their own environmental standards, and the Congresswoman has another idea as well, banning people who move from blue states to red states from voting for 5 years so they don't bring their bad politics with them. I actually favor that idea. Anyway, here with more is Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Notice that it's banning people moving from blue states or blue state voters moving to red states. There's no talk of banning Republicans moving into California or New York. It's telling. It's telling that this is absolutely just about the politics of this. More troubling, though, is that Sean Hannity, a voice, an influencer in this space, is giving approval of this idea. A man who ostensibly does understand what is and what is not constitutional, what is and what is not good and beneficial for the Union, for our republic. And then he goes on, he asks her some questions, and then she starts demonizing Democrats while telling on herself. Demonizing Democrats and liberals and leftists, even though she has no idea the difference between the three. Demonizing them while just trumpeting exactly how bad her idea is and the ideologies of the right. Watch this.
But the Democrats never stop pushing their policies, their ideas, and their culture on Republicans and the right. And we are so sick and tired of it. We are tired of our children being taught ideas and ideologies in school that we do not want our children taught, like gender lies. We do not want our children having their gender change or transitioned. We can't even have women's sports and privacy in our bathrooms, and women in prison can't even have spaces. ESG, environmental social governance, has completely taken over corporations, and this is a huge policy pressed on private businesses through the government from Democrats. If you're a white male today in the financial industry, you can forget it. You're a dinosaur. You're going extinct. No one should ever be hired by their skin color or their gender or
Marjorie,
how they
let me ask you
identify.
this.
It should only be about your character and your ability to do the job.
It is all, listen, I know that I am a little bombastic sometimes and I name call. This is not meant to be just salacious name calling. Marjorie Taylor Greene is decidedly stupid. She is a moron. It is unconscionable that she represents a constituency. She wants to put extra conditions on being a voter here or there, yet no mind or proposition to create more restrictions on someone with her lack of intelligence actually being a member of Congress. To talk about Democrats pushing their policies and their culture on the right, while in the same breath pushing her policies and culture on the left and the rest of the country. For a Republican to whine about Democrats pushing their policies and culture is just laughable as they rip away constitutional rights to abortion access, as they demean and put policies in place to harm marginalized groups, gay and transgender. If you're black or brown in a Republican America, your life is not worth as much. Talking about teaching children ideologies we don't agree with. What ideologies would those be, Marge? Would they be love and compassion and equality and equity? Would they be those ideologies? Acceptance? The belief that gay people exist? Are those the ideologies that you're afraid of, that you're demonizing Democrats for? You would rather a nation of children be taught bigotry and hatred and fear of others? To be taught that pushing your particular religious flavor of belief on everyone else is the way to go. And then this nonsense about white males being extinct or going extinct. I mean, are we living in the 1990s? This is nonsense that I was hearing when I was a younger man. That the true endangered species in America is the straight white male. Yeah, we've had it so rough for so long, us straight white men. You dum-dum. Anyway, it ends with this Hannity doing this faux pushback about what about people who would say? What about people who would say? What if there's critics out there who might say that we're a nation governed by that Constitution? What about those people? What would you say to that? And here is her ridiculous answer.
What do you say to your critics that say that our country's governed by our Constitution? You swore an oath to defend it. Is there any way that America, in spite of our differences, are we at a point where, okay, you either win an election and your side is up to bat, or you lose an election and their agenda gets pushed forward? Or do you actually think there will be a growing movement towards this because the divide is so deep?
I actually think this is a much bigger movement than most people in Washington even realize. And you can take a look at the tweets that I made just yesterday. The amount of likes and retweets that those tweets got should tell people a lot, and they're just not aware of it yet because they don't talk to regular people. You see, this isn't ending our union. This is shrinking the federal government, which we need to stop our spending. Our spending is out of control. We can abolish departments and different parts of our federal government and give states more power and control to conduct their affairs and their laws that fit the people that live in those states. This is more respectful towards all Americans, and it could end the fighting, and hopefully we can respect each other once again.
And do you expect it'll happen? Last question.
Well, I think it's something that we should work towards because, it's kind of the vision that our founding fathers had for America. And I think it's a great one. It worked in the beginning.
And again, she shows herself to be the absolute abject idiot that I always claim her to be. You just witnessed it. Well, listen, a lot of people liked my tweets. There were a bunch of retweets. We're governing by retweets now. We're violating the Constitution based on retweets now. And it is difficult for me to not puke when I hear her say, this was the vision of our founding fathers. Let's break out our little pocket constitution since it's prop day on the Dollemore Daily. I wonder where in this Constitution of these United States, along with the Bill of Rights and for some reason the Gettysburg Address, I wonder where in here the founding fathers wrote that her plan was what they wanted. It seems to me that if this is what they had wanted, they would have wrote it in here. It would have been included in our governing documents. It would have been included in the document that she swore an oath to support and defend. But it's not in there, conspicuously absent are Marjorie Taylor Greene's ideas that she's now claiming was the vision of the founding fathers. Look, I've made it known I don't have a lot of deference or reverence for a bunch of white, rich slave owners. I don't think we have to adhere by what they thought it should be. But for a woman who does claim to care, you would think she would have some understanding of what they actually did believe. You think maybe she'd read the Federalist Papers, what Alexander Hamilton and John Jay, James Madison actually wrote about the intent behind the Constitution of the United States. Anyway, this is all nonsense. The problem here is that it's picking up steam. The problem here is that this is an idea that is catching hold among right-wing idiots who don't know their Constitution from their Declaration of Independence, who don't know their Constitution from their Bible. They believe there's some amalgamation between the two. What do you think? I'd love to know. You can mix it up in the comments. We can talk about it in the comments. Would be fantastic. It also games the algorithm a little bit. Or you can just type some random comments, like the video, share the video. There is still some chicanery going on with suppression of content. I don't know if it's just an automatic thing. I don't know. Anyway, that would be helpful. You can also call, leave me a voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me, daily@dollemore.com. Listen, subscribe to my podcast. If you listen to any podcasts at all, make sure that mine is one of them. It is a twice weekly show where we go in depth on some of these topics with my co-host, Brittany Page. It is a good time, far less buttoned up than this particular show. If you appreciate what I do and you want to help support my work here and on the podcast, you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. $2 a month goes a long way towards supporting the mission and the stated objective of this show and that. You can also click the join button below, become a channel member for $2 a month. I would very much appreciate your consideration. Follow me on social media. I'm all over the place at Dollemore. I'd love to see you there. And I will see you next time. Until I do, be genuine. Take care of one another.